What's up, friends? Welcome back to Rooted Wisconsin. Appreciate you for clicking another episode. Grateful to have you here. Today's episode is with Spencer Young, super talented artist and the person who makes the custom cleats for most of your Green Bay Packers, paints the Packers fences, and a host of other things. We talk about his journey of being an artist, getting into it, doing art with his grandpa and drawing and having some instrumental people along the way, including the person who designed the original Green Bay Packers logo. Super cool stuff. Great conversation. Of course, we get philosophical at times. We find a bunch of rabbit holes and talk about all kinds of cool stuff. Shout out to our sponsors at Carouser, bringing you non-alcoholic beverages straight to your door. If you've thought about removing or limiting alcohol in your life or haven't, think about it now. Epic Mortgage, human-centered mortgage services, helping you into your next house. And Genuine Lynn, custom-made apparel for your business, your school, your nonprofit, anything you need that for. And also really cool one-of-a-kind trinkets, great gift ideas. Check out genuinelynn.com. Let's get into it. Here's Spencer Young.
As the years have passed, so have the ways. We've tried to lift our neighbors. Where did the love go? Where did the talk end? We need some help to make this better again.
I was wondering that, how the logistics work too, because you make so many. So it sounds you deliver them right to them. Like it's not like you drop them off at the stadium and they're there for them, ready or something like that.
Yeah, so basically how it all started was I went to a football camp and I did some live painting with some cleats and stuff, and it was for Jaden Reed's youth football camp at City Stadium.
Yeah.
So when he showed up, he saw me painting. He's like, "Oh man, your work's so cool. Like, you have your contact info." I was like, "Yeah, here you go." And then Dontavian was there. He got my contact information, and it kind of like a couple weeks later, I just didn't think of anything of it. And it was like my parents' anniversary dinner, and I got a text message from Jaden Reed, and he's like, "Hey, you think you get something dialed in next Sunday?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, I got you, dude.
Yeah.
No worries." So, yeah, everyone saw like his cleats in the locker room, and then one player, and then another player, and then eventually the whole locker room. So.
And the whole like my cause, my cleat thing was probably a big boon to it, right? Because then they get even more flexibility with what they can have.
Yeah, so I guess like when it came to more work, it was after the first My Cause, My Cleats game. So like that's when players actually need custom cleats done, to showcase like their causes and everything. So let's just say the past 2 weeks was really, really busy. The first game that I did, it was 27 pairs of cleats.
Dang.
Yeah, so I was like, there were days where it's like 4 cleats a day, trying to just get them all dialed in. And then you're trying to create that same quality with every pair where it's just one of one. There's nothing else like it in the league. So
yeah. What's the process of it like, dude? Like, is it a special kind of paint? Do you need certain like style shoes to do it? Like, how does that work?
So my best example to compare it is if you ever get a paint job on your car.
Okay.
Like, obviously, you got to make sure the surface is clean. Then you do your sanding, your prep work, you prime it, and then you put the paint on it. It's the same thing. So, like, I'll take a pair of cleats, I'll sand them, and then use, like, acetone. So you use it to remove the finish. And that's, like, it promotes the adhesion to it. And then you do some special sprays on it with an additive. And then you just basically use, I use Andros paint, and it's like a leather paint. So like once it's on the surface, it's a super flexible paint compared to any other standard paint. So it's like you can bend and crease and it'll still retain that same shape without cracking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super cool, dude. I have so many questions for you. I'm fascinated by what you do. Like I love when somebody finds like a little niche for something that they can just pour their heart into. And I can tell you do it with your stuff. I want to start though. I want to like turn back the clock a little bit.
No worries.
Like where does art start for you, man? Like because you're so talented, and like I love hearing the story of how that talent started to become shown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where does it start?
So ever since I could remember, like before walking, I probably had a pen in my hand, just drawing on a piece of paper. My grandpa was a rustic painter. So he would paint on saw blades, he would paint on wood, and he'd do mostly paintings for family and friends. He was very active in his church, so it was always kind of a request or like a birthday or Christmas gift. And I just always like found that so fascinating that someone can like take a piece of paper and a pencil and just create this amazing image. And I remember I would just like sit at the counter with him and just draw, 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 and we just crumble up paper and throw it on the ground. We just have piles. Like grandma would be so mad. Like you're just you know how many trees you just killed off right there? But it was one of those things where it was like I enjoyed the art, but I enjoyed hanging out with my grandpa. And that's like really inspired me to like get into art. So
And
that's
it started with drawing.
yeah. So it was always just drawing at first. When I got into high school, like I attempted painting. Horrible. Like I could not like just pick it up. I did not get it. And then I kind of took like a couple years off from like just the painting in general. And it wasn't until I went to St. Norbert in college and I took a drawing class and he kind of like separated me from the class to do painting. He wanted to teach me oil painting and it would be Professor John Gordon. So if you're familiar with him, he's actually the creator of the Packer G logo.
No way.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it was really cool being in his class and he would show me like sketches and concepts. Like Vince Lombardi like told him, "Hey, I want a couple concepts. This is what I'm thinking. Why don't you go back and then come up with some ideas?" Because he was a assistant equipment. So he'd like help out with like the team and everything. So he's like, "Okay, no problem." So then he's literally like, I think he said he did like 6 sketches on a piece of paper. And then Vince looked at it and he's like, "That one." And that's basically there's slight tweaks and alterations to what it is today, but it's essentially the same G.
No way.
Yeah. So it looks more like a football. So like if you ever like imagine an old school looking football, it's more kind of diamond shaped.
Yeah.
So the original logo looked more like a diamond shaped G. Yeah. And he was showing me the original paper that he drew on when he was showing me the sketches.
That's wild to know,
Yeah.
dude, that Vince picked it out.
Yeah, he did. So it was like one of those things. Someone on the team who knew how to draw, they were like, "Hey, can you come up with some?" Next day, brought some sketches and Vince, that one.
That's super
Yeah.
cool. Dude.
So
Okay, so it started in youth with grandpa. We had a wood burning artist on a couple weeks ago, and hers was similar. Hers was her grandma.
yep.
Then you developed to another kind of like motivator, mentor type thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how do you start to map out that like take it forward? You know, because there's time in there before when you're probably like the quote unquote starving artist, right? Like you have all this talent.
I'm not really that starving, if you can tell. So I just like I said, I really enjoy what I do, you know. But I think so after college I graduated, obviously, and I'm always told like once you graduate, you got to find a job in your field. So right away trying to find something. I worked at a furniture store for a while.
And what was your undergrad?
A Bachelor of Arts and emphasis with graphic design.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. So just trying to find something. I ended up working for Oshkosh Defense. I did a lot of the big contract work through them, and we worked in bid and proposal. So we would like lay out documents and then trying to sell a vehicle or a product.
Yep.
Wasn't my cup of tea. It was long hours. Like I think there's been weeks, it was 100-hour weeks where I just like, it was really draining me out. And I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I kind of had to take a step back. And like the one thing I always find myself doing in my downtime was drawing. And I just really love drawing. So I was like, you know what? I painted on walls. Why don't I just take a chance on myself and maybe I can like, you know, make some money painting murals. So, my first project I did, I was just maybe like 2 weeks into it. And then I actually got a phone call asking me can you paint the Packers fence outside Lambeau Field?
Yeah.
Which I was like, man, that's just such a huge opportunity. Like my grandpa who passed away at that time, I just knew like he knew exactly what that fence was. I was like, man, that would just be so cool to like kind of be ingrained in that tradition, that community with something like painting the Packers fence. So I said, yeah, for sure. So that opportunity happened.
And that was about the time that you did that first mural that you were talking about?
So like just as I started my business for myself, like when I say like, I think it's destiny more often than none.
Dude.
Like stuff is just meant to be. And that was just one of those like moments where I was like, this couldn't have happened at a better time, you know?
Life
So
rewarded you for taking a step in an uncomfortable direction, man.
exactly.
So what was the first mural? What was the one that you were doing when you got that call?
So so it was Inspire 360, and then they have so they're like a training facility for basketball players.
Okay.
So they like train like high school, college, and then pro athletes. So it was like a mural in their basketball court. So I was about like halfway through when I got like the message, and I was just like, wow, this is like so surreal, you know?
So sick.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, so you get that call, you gotta say yes to the fence.
Yep.
And then it's probably a rocket ship from there, right?
I mean, it's always kind of like I embrace the struggle. That's what I always tell people. I actually enjoy it a little bit, where it's like, you know, if you're not going through like difficulty and you're not doing your best, like then it's like it's not worth like fighting for at the end of the day. So like for me, like art has always been, you know, experimenting and like how can I propel myself in a situation where I can not only get more work, but my work gets recognized across the community or even the country. So with the Packers fence, like it really did open a lot of opportunities, but it was more so that when I explored into other facets, like obviously customizing like football cleats or shoes, like I always did that in college for like my buddies that were so I played college football at St. Norbert for a couple of years.
Okay.
And so I think it was like my sophomore year, that's when the first customized shoe was ever introduced in the NFL. So my buddies were like, you think you can do that? And I was just like, I can give it a shot. So I remember my first pair I ever painted for one of my buddies. It didn't even last like 5-10 minutes. Like I didn't have the right paint. I didn't have the right process. Like no one really knows what to do when it comes to customizing a football cleat. So with that being said, I just, you know, I practice, hone in my skills. I'm still like practicing to this day. And it was just like one of those opportunities where I think the Packers fence helped, because I've had players reach out and like, hey, I know you paint the fence out there. Do you also customize shoes? So it was kind of like, I do. I can like give it a shot. And like, you know, before I would say like, I've been doing custom cleats for Packer players like for multiple years. It just hasn't been like extreme the past couple seasons. So before that, it was maybe like 2 or 3 pairs. And then with this previous 2 seasons, like the year before, it was like 60 pairs of cleats. And then this past year was over 150.
So sick.
Yeah.
Over double the most. Damn.
Mhm.
That's super cool. There's a nugget in there that I think we should hang on for a little while, though, because it's really valuable about, I want to dig a little deeper
Yeah.
into enjoying the process
Yeah.
and like embracing the struggle. Where do you think that comes from? Because I have in life, a lot of times the things we get the most satisfaction out of the things that we struggle to get. You know,
Yeah.
like it's hard work to get there. Do you think that's the basis, or what drives you past that stuff? Is it the satisfaction at the end, or is it the process of learning and growing?
Yeah.
Why do you think you like it?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think definitely the reward of it. So like when I let's just say I'll customize like 10 pairs in a week. And then come Sunday, like I see all those cleats on TV.
Oh, that's gotta
and
be cool as hell.
Oh, it's just like wow, like I actually did it. I made that happen at the end of the day for the players and the team. You know, I'm always a fan first. So it's like in ways I feel like I'm doing my part to help the squad, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then with the struggle, like my dad was always a blue collar worker. Like he worked for Bull for like 40 years, and he's always up, before dawn and working till dusk. And like, it was kind of hard to kind of explain to my family that like I want to do art full time, you know, but they were very supportive of it. And I try and like take the same mentality that like my dad had and apply it to the art. So like for me, like I'm a night owl. I'll stay up hours making sure a project's done. I'll get a few hours of sleep and I'll continue working on more projects. You know, I just want to make sure that I leave my best work out there and I leave a good legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I told that path. So like sometimes I'll get stuck in this thing where like I always work really hard, but like let's use the podcast as an example.
Yep.
There are always ways to get better, right? Like I could buy better cameras, I could do a different kind of prep, I could be, you know, mapping out a lot of things, and then I get squirreled by these different ideas.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm working hard, but I'm not being intentional with that work, and I'll have to rein myself in.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing, I think, for the driven individual that you're talking about,
Yep.
because we can quickly fall into like anything I do, if I decide to do it, like it's going to get my 100% effort. But what does that effort mean?
You want to
know?
make sure that your effort is creating the best results possible. Like you want to be as efficient as possible when you're putting in 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think for me, in like even in my career, it's more so like trying to find that thing. Like I can tell you, like how many of the experiments I've done in my whole career, art career so far, and I'm just like, I enjoy it, but it's not what other people enjoy.
Right.
And so it's like I kind of like I want to come back to that, but I'm gonna have to abandon that and find something else. So it's like my mural work has always been something where it catches everyone's eye.
Yep.
It's always been super positive and well received. And then the custom shoes and custom cleats. And then that's the other thing. So it's like generally when I try and focus on stuff, I highlight my custom shoes, my custom cleats, and mural work. But if it were up to me, like personal projects, like after the season, nothing but personal projects. So like I can't tell you how many paintings I've done on canvas since the football season ended. And it's more of a relief. Like, you're not on a deadline anymore. You're kind of doing something that you enjoy. So I think you can have your things that you want to explore and look into. I feel like that's fine. But it's like once you find your thing and everyone likes it, like it's kind of hard not to not do it.
Got to leverage it as an
Exactly.
artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Did you ever, so playing college football, did you ever end up doing your cleats that you would wear?
Oh, yeah. So, like, not in college. I was always like, I don't know. It would be like if a singer was like listening to their own music, like at a
Right.
party or something.
Yeah.
So, like, when I played semi-professional football.
Okay.
So I played with like guys that were like, they played Division I football or played in the NFL, and then you have a guy that never suited up and played football in his life and wanted to try it. So when I played semi-pro, I thought, well, I could actually showcase my work on my feet, and I can sell, my work by just
Right.
like if a player on the field from other teams like, those are cool. Where'd you get
Spencer
those?
billboard.
Yeah, I would literally just a big 6'4" on my jersey. They know it's me,
Yeah.
So I just like I said, yeah, hit me up. I'm on Facebook and everything, and we'll get something done. So for a long while, that's how I got my practice in. I just like doing custom work for guys in the league and
Mhm.
just keep improving on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd the logistical side of the business develop for you? Because that's oftentimes like people follow a passion. You start a business, you
Yep.
start doing a thing, and the logistics kind of come along with it. You learn as you have to. How'd
Yeah.
that come along for you? Like contracts,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. Dude.
It's all just trial and error. I think it's still kind of trial and error at this point, So, like, when I wake up in the morning, I really don't know what I'm going to do that day. Like, I could get a phone call being like, hey, I need 10 custom order of, like, football cleats. Okay, great. And then the next day, I'll be like, hey, there's this huge mural project in, like, Texas that we want to fly you out to. And it's like, I think with me, it's more adapting to the situation. It's not necessarily having a solid game plan. It's just like whatever opportunity is sent your way, just say yes to and you'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's an important part of life, man.
yeah,
The willingness to say yes. We've talked about that in a couple different episodes. The value of that. Sometimes when it's uncomfortable too.
Yep.
So it sounds like a big geographic area. So like,
yeah.
where are some of your murals like?
So New York is one. If you're familiar with like Cheesehead TV,
Yeah.
yeah. So like Live X, I painted their headquarters there. If you're familiar with the games Roblox,
Yeah.
so Wonderworks Studios, who creates a lot of the games for Roblox, they flew me down to paint their whole headquarters. So trying to give you an example, like a vibe, but like if you're familiar with like David Cho,
Yeah.
he's an artist that did the Facebook headquarters.
Yep.
So essentially I did the same thing for their headquarters and their animation department.
Sick.
So I just went around the whole building, like I can't remember how many square feet, but it was enormous, and just spray paint and tagged every wall I could like get done in the next few days.
That's so
Yeah.
cool, man. And so how did they tell you how they found you? Like how does that
So it's
person
funny,
funnel to you, dude?
And this is where we talk about like saying yes to opportunities. And I actually played semi-pro with a guy for a year. And I really like, didn't know him well, but he just reached out like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I work for Wonderworks Studio down in Texas, and they're trying to find local artists, and I said, I know a guy. Would you be willing to fly out and paint like at that time it was only like 2 walls.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, sure, let's make it happen. So they flew me out and I talked with the CEO of the company. He's like, how much would it be just to go crazy with like everything in the whole building? I was like, well, I'm only here for a few days. He's like, well, I'll double what we're paying you. Perfect. Let's make it
Set
happen.
it up.
And like I said, and like stuff is meant to be. There's a Hobby Lobby next door. So like I get a lot of my spray paint from Hobby Lobby. So all I had to do was like walk next door, buy maybe a few $100s worth of spray paint, just go kind of crazy in the building. So
And they just gave you free reign.
yeah, pretty much. They just said like make sure you incorporate all the characters that we have, and like I said, just kind of have fun with it. So and it was cool because like my mom was like, well, I've never been to Texas. And I was like, all right, you could be my helper. So like we flew down together and she was helping me paint the walls and stuff. And it was good mother-son bonding time, you know? So kind of one of those another experiences that I'll cherish forever. So
Yeah, dude, absolutely. One of those things that like at one angle, it's kind of self-affirming. You
Yep.
get this sweet job. It turns out awesome. You get to hang out and bring family with you. And on another angle, it's like your portfolio develops
Yep.
by happenstance. You know, one
Yeah.
cool connection. You were nice to a guy at one time, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, this dude's cool," and that opens a massive door that starts to rainfall.
And that's literally what it is. And it's like I do a lot of mural work. I don't know if you're familiar with Lion's Tail Brewery and Nina. And
Never
then they
been.
have, okay, it's a great place, by the way. I would recommend stopping there for a beer, and they got some good food too. But they have another location in Wauwatosa. So I had someone reach out to me and said like, listen, I'm trying to find like this awesome Christmas gift. All I have is $100. And this was like way earlier in my career. Like, you think you get 2 small paintings done for me? And I just
They asked for 2?
2 for 2. So I was like, you know what? It's that time of year where it's like, you know, if I can make someone's day by giving something special to someone else, like I'm going to do it. Like this is my good deed around the holidays. So I did that. And he messaged me like a couple weeks later and he's like, oh my gosh, paintings were such a huge hit. The owners of the brewery saw your work and they'd love to connect with you and get something done. So I've done 4 murals for them at all their breweries. So it was like that $100 opportunity turned into like a huge opportunity with like a very well paying project at the end of the day. So it's like you can say no to stuff, but I just feel like if you say yes, you never know what doors it's going to open at the end of the day. And I would rather have the unknown kind of like being an opportunity down the line where it's like it could be something special. Yeah.
Absolutely. That probably gets hard to navigate too, right? Though, as you grow and you get more projects, because just talking with you a little bit, it seems having that mentality of like you understand the importance of what you create too.
Yeah.
So you have this pressure of like, okay, it's a very common artist thing, right? You
Right.
get asked to do stuff for free, or you get asked to way undervalues your talent because you're like 1 in 20,000 people can do what I do.
Right.
But at the same time, people, it's hilarious they ask for 2.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's the
really
thing because it's like I think it was for like the brother and sister. So it's like, you know, and I got a brother too, and it's like I can't say no to my brother if like, you know, they were gonna get something special for the holidays. So I just like at that time, like I was doing whatever I can to get my work out there too, you
Right.
know. So I think now I'm in a little bit more comfortable situation where it's like so the past couple years have definitely been chaotic from August till like at least January or February. So it's like, I'm sorry, I can't take any more projects on. So like I
Yeah.
had like 1 or 2 murals during the football season this past year. And it was so hard juggling that between like trying to get cleats done for players and then trying to do the mural work on top of it. So I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to have to like reevaluate. So like when it's August to like February, nothing but cleats. I can't do anything else. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, and then you have like these games where it's like they have the throwback game. So like the Packers will wear the blue jerseys and brown pants, and then they had the leather custom helmets made. So everyone wants tailored cleats for that. And then what a lot of people don't know is 3 weeks later, it was the My Cost My Cleats game.
Mm.
So when it's like, I got to paint like 12 pairs of cleats that week. And then on top of doing the cleats for the next upcoming weeks. and then get ready for 50 plus pair of cleats for the My Cause game. It's like, within 3 or 4 weeks, you're doing like close to 100 pair of cleats. So it does get a lot, and trying to balance everything. It gets difficult. So,
and their schedules are crazy too. So they probably they get around to texting you whenever they get a chance.
Yeah.
And then it's like 5 days before the game, and you're like,
oh, it's not even that. Not even that. I'll tell you a story. So like, I think it was a couple years ago, they were playing the Seahawks. I had Eric Stokes message me at 6:00 on a Friday.
Nice.
So like, that's when they had to travel. So like, I'd like arrange like with the equipment staff and be like, hey, I'll be there in a half hour to pick up cleats. So I picked up his cleats, brought him back to my studio, worked on them all night, drove the morning right before they flew out. And I think it was like 10 a.m. at Lambeau. Yeah. So like my dedication to make sure everyone's fitted right for the game is above and beyond, I think. So
That's sick.
yeah.
Have you delved into any other sports yet?
Yeah, so actually, baseball I have, just for one player, Ryan Pepiot. He's, I still believe he's on the Tampa Bay Rays, but I did a couple cleats for him, and he wore them during a game pitching, and I'm just like, oh man, that's just such another cool opportunity where it's like, it's one thing seeing like football cleats on the field, and just seeing it in a different sport with like custom shoes is like, wow, it's a different feeling for each thing, I think.
I bet.
Yeah.
And that's probably an interesting decision to make, right? Because building on our earlier conversation, oftentimes we leverage what works.
Yep.
And on one side of the coin, you talked about how it's nice to have that release and let some of the stuff you have inside of you out, as opposed to like making things for others. But you can also see a really cool path forward with just like, okay, NFL goes to NBA, NBA goes to MLB, MLB goes to the next sport.
Right.
And then, the next thing you know, you're doing golf, doing golf spikes or something. So what are your thoughts around that, dude? Like, where's the growth happen?
And that's the thing, like especially like, so I wouldn't say it's my first year because I've been customizing cleats for players for a while, but like my first big year where I did like 60 pairs of cleats for the Packer players. When the offseason hit, a lot of players left, and like for example, TJ Slayton, well, when he left the Packers, he signed with the Cincinnati Bengals. And when he signed with the Bengals, he's like, hey, would you still be willing to do cleats for me? Like, yeah, no problem. We'll just have to figure it out. It was like my first time really dealing with like shipping cleats and stuff, but I did a pair of cleats for him every week. So he's a big sneakerhead. So it was always a variant of like a shoe that he really, really wanted. And I would just have to kind of recreate it. So, like they had the like the Gammas, like the shoes that they're called, and he wanted me to recreate it, make sure the bottoms are icy blue, and make sure he had like little quotes in there and everything. So I'd have to make sure like every Friday before 6:00, I was at FedEx, so it'd be there on time. So when it come to like expanding my work across the league, like that first year, it was just focused on Packers. And then it's like when players left, they would bring my work with them. So it's like my first year was Packer players. And then this past year, it was Green Bay Packers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Atlanta Falcons. So with just the NFL in general, like I went from 1 to like 5 different teams. And now when it comes to other sports now, like I've had like agents reach out to me asking me to do work as well. So Bryce Underwood, the quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines, I've done custom cleats for him when he was like just committed. So like when he committed to LSU, I did a custom LSU pair of cleats for him. And then he backed out, and then he went to the Wolverines. So then I did another Michigan pair for him. Yeah. So, but like even these high school kids, that like the NIL deals are absolutely insane. Like I'm doing custom cleats for like high school kids and talking with their agents to make those cleats happen.
Really?
Yeah. So it's just like, it's a whole different landscape when it comes to like sports in general. Like I think the custom work has really picked up because it's such a hot commodity. Like I think it makes a player really stand out. Compared to like, like if Chad Ochocinco had custom pair of cleats like back when he played, I think it would propel him to the stratosphere, when it comes to personality.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's just kind of like crazy what you never know what the next big thing's going to be.
And that's probably an interesting part of considering like growth within just the NFL, right? Because you're one dude. It's not like you can hire somebody else to do them too.
And that's the thing. I always tell my wife, I wish there was more than one me. Like, granted, like when it comes to prepping like football cleats or everything, I'll hire my wife to help me in the
Yeah.
garage, like sanding cleats. And then like during my cause, I messaged my brother. I was like, would you come over for a few hours and help me like sand the stack of cleats? And like,
Yep.
it was funny because like every pair he grabbed, he's like, whose cleats are these? And I'd be like, those are Keyshawn Dixon's. Sick.
Just fanboy.
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
was like, he's like, I'm telling all my buddies which ones I sanded and prepped for the game. So like when they're watching, he's like, I did those ones. I did those ones. I was like, yeah, you do what you gotta do, you know?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Well, you get it. You know, you said you're fan first too. You get it. That's a cool experience.
It is for
to
sure.
Have your hands on something like that. That's awesome, man. That it's I think another important piece of it, thinking about the growth, is that it builds upon or bridges a part of like larger society too, because you mentioned sneakerheads, like it's a thing outside of sports too. Is that a realm that you've delved into? Have you done them for non-athletic shoes?
Oh, for sure. I've done custom like shoe work. I just never really expanded my work really heavily into the sneakerhead community.
Yeah.
It's more so like for me, my work is when someone reaches out to me, that's where I don't have to reach out for the work. It's more so people find me and contact me.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, which I'm super blessed to have that be an actual thing in my life, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell my wife sometimes, like now it's kind of the slow period. I'm like, not getting any messages. And she's like, you've been saying this for the past 12 years already, and it all works out at the end of the day. And it's like, sure enough, like this week I had like 2 mural opportunities pop up where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm sitting pretty good. So it's like, for the most part, I haven't really had to like, hey, like, do you want work done? You know, it's more so like, I just have to be patient and people will come to me for it. So yeah.
Kind of speaking towards what you were talking about earlier, you know, you put your attention to something, you do it the best you can.
Yep.
And then you let it flow to you.
Right. And I think that's where if you want to have a successful business at the end of the day, I think you let your work speak for yourself. Because I just think like I take my time with every project I do. I make sure it's perfect at the end of the day. Granted, nothing's 100% perfect at the end of the day, but for my capabilities, I'll make sure I do my best. And I feel like your work really reflects what kind of business you can generate at the end of the day. So that's why too, I think that's a part of it why people reach out to me more often than none. It's because they see the work, it's good, and they want something similar to that. So like I said, you know, not saying that like I'm blessed to have people reach out to me. I think it's kind of earned at the end of the day as well, where it's, you know, you really put your best work out there.
For sure. And that builds the most like sustainable relationships and business model.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
then it's not like there's this interesting correlation between, you know, the benefits that you say you're going to provide and then the benefits that get provided. And if you outlive that, or if you outrank what you said you were going to do, they're going to come back for more and more, and they're going to go to a different team, and they're going to call Spencer. And, and then they're going to be like, they're going to have a teammate that says, I want some custom cleats. Where'd you get those? You can call my guy Spencer.
That's literally
you know?
what it is. Yeah. and that's what it is right now when you're expanding to other teams. Like I even told my wife, I was like, I would hate to come to the point where it's like, I'd have to give up like my mural work, but it's like, if the shoes just become like a bigger entity than what it is right now, then it's like, I'll have no choice but to do that year long, you know? So like I have football season that keeps me busy throughout the whole season. That's August to like February, but like now it's like baseball season starting. So if like my work got in the MLB and all that, then it's like, yeah, that's going to be how much longer doing custom cleats. That's going to be all year now doing like custom footwear. So it's like I wouldn't have time to do the mural work. So I try and balance it in a way where it's like I get to have a little bit of everything, and kind of like I'll be honest, I can get a little bored after a while. So I feel like, I'm sorry.
It's all right, dude. We are this is nonchalant here.
Yeah.
This is real life. No worries, man.
No, and by the way, like little nervous. I'm not the best at public speaking or like anything like that. So
I think you're
if
doing
you
great.
didn't know, okay, good. Yeah, I played offensive line, you know, so I'm a bit of a goofball at the end of the day. Like I play more mental games than I do the physical games at the end of the day. So I'll have like a player throwing punches at me or something.
You're a good trash talker?
Yeah, pretty much.
I love it, dude. Oh, so I was a 3-sport athlete. My best trash talk came out in basketball. I love talking some jazz on the basketball floor. Football, I was a quarterback, so I would talk a little bit, but more so there's too much going on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how Phillip Rivers ever did it, just talking trash all the time. Were you tackle, guard? What'd you play?
I played all over the offensive line.
'Kay.
So when I went to my freshman year at St. Norbert, I played offensive tackle. And then my sophomore year, I played offensive guard.
Okay.
And then when I played semi-pro ball, I was all over the place. Believe it or not, I'm the biggest I am right now. However, there was a point where at that time when I was my biggest, I decided I'm going to lose weight. And I lost like 180 pounds. So I ended up playing like tight end semi-professional. And we scrimmaged the Blizzards. And I was the only player to catch a pass against the scrimmage for like 15 yards. Like I was literally like throwing shoulders into like safeties and stuff. And I was like, all right, it was worth losing the weight there.
180 pounds is intense, dude.
A lot, yeah. I was more of a runner than anything. And like I ate, and it's not necessarily I ate like super clean, but like I would eat multiple times throughout the day. So it's like I have a small meal, wait 3 hours, have another small meal, wait another 3 hours. I'd probably do that like 6 times a day.
Okay.
But then the running, like I remember every weekend, like I would run from my apartment to my parents' house, and that was like 10 miles. So like I make it a mission to run like 2.5 miles like every day at that time. So honestly, I don't do a lot of running anymore, and I'm trying to like ease my way back into it. So
life ebbs and flows in that range, man. I've been trying to find, especially as I age, I've been trying to find the right way to eat. Because for a long time, like I didn't even know it was a thing when I started it, but I guess I was intermittent fasting. Like that's just how I ate. And now, recently, and this is kind of a life circumstance that got me here, but my kid wants oatmeal every morning, and I can't make oatmeal without eating oatmeal. I like oatmeal.
Yeah.
So I was making it, and I was like, all right, well, we'll do breakfast together. We'll have oatmeal every day. And now I'm going more along this path. Like I'm having several small meals throughout the day.
Yep.
And I can't tell, but one thing I do know, man, is with every year that passes, that metabolism gets a little bit slower.
That's what it is for sure. And like, that's what's catching up to me right now. And it's like, I told my wife, I was like, I'd love to just get back on that routine. But like, that's the difference between me and her. It's like, for me, I could eat the same meal like every day and it wouldn't bother me. So like when I lost my weight, like it was always broiled haddock and white rice and broccoli. That was my dinner like every day. And then you put like diced green chilies and tomatoes on it.
Ooh, all
you
right.
put a little mozzarella on top of it. It is the best. That's like my favorite meal, like when I was on my health kick. So I told her, I was like, I'd love to get back to eating that like every day. And and I get it because like a lot of people need variety in their meals, but that's just like to each their own. Like everyone's different when it comes to like losing weight even. So for me, like I've always like struggled losing weight. And the one thing that I always found that worked was eating small meals, and I spaced them out 3 hours like every day and making sure that was a thing. And then like I didn't really eat a whole lot of fast food on my health kick or anything. I think you just like you have to find that right formula to make it work.
For
and I
you.
feel like for the body type that I have, that's what worked for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I'll follow up after you tell because I went through a similar thing. But when you like going from running 10 miles consistently to not doing it, do you notice any mental changes? Like, do you miss it? Do you catch yourself acting differently or like yearning for that and being a high level athlete? When that's gone, do you find yourself mentally affected at all?
Yeah, I think how you manage stress is a huge thing. So like for me, it's like if I ever felt like I was getting this pent up energy, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go on a run. And then it's just like you're just with yourself and your thoughts. Like I could put on like the AirPods and then do a little jogging. Like I always had a routine where it's like if I listen to one song that's 3 minutes of just running, that's perfect. Then the next song I'm gonna walk, So it was more of like a structured routine where it was like, hey, if I needed to step away and take a breath and think things out, that was my outlet. But then it's like you don't do that anymore. So you don't have that outlet to kind of like de-stress, where I think it can like definitely like play with your emotional and your mental state at the end of the day. So for me, even that's why I want to get back into it, because it's like if I'm customizing football cleats, it'd be just easy for me to like, you know what, I'm gonna step away from this for a little bit,
Yeah.
throw the AirPods in and go for, a little run. It's not anything art related. It's something different. It separates you from the chaos.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ask because I had a pretty good revelation in my life. So when after high school and when I decided I was gonna stop playing football, my hobby was basketball.
Yep.
Like, I had played basketball, never took it really seriously. I liked other sports better. But for, like, probably man, probably a 15-year period, 12-year period for sure, played basketball several times a week. And a few years ago, I busted my ankle bad. I haven't been able to play since. I probably could now,
Yeah.
but I found other outlets. But here's the thing. I couldn't play for a while, and when I stopped playing football, I told myself I was never gonna lift weights again. I hate lifting weights.
Yeah.
I still do. It's not something I enjoy.
Yep.
So, I didn't have any type of workout outlet. Like, I do a morning walk. I've done that for a long time, but that was it.
Yeah.
Nothing else. And I got a couple months into it after I hurt my ankle, and I was just a completely different person, and
Yeah.
I didn't realize it, and I can't remember how I ended up with the awareness. I feel like my wife might have said something to me like, like, "You've been on edge a little bit lately," or something, and it took me a long time to diagnose the connection,
Yeah.
and then when I thought about it, I was like, "Man, like, that was a really pivotal piece of my life that's now not only affected my physical health, but my mental health too."
Yep.
Because when I thought about it, when it got brought to my attention, I was like, man, I am kind of being a dick sometimes. And I am like a little bit more on edge.
Yep.
And so I've had to find other outlets. Now I got into yoga. I love yoga
Yeah.
a lot. That helps me. But I've come to realize that I always did that for a purpose. Like I was working out, obviously you lift weights to be a better football player.
Right.
Or I went to hoop because I enjoyed the competition and I needed to.
That's what it is. I think we're all born gladiators in a way. Like if you're an athlete, like you want that competition. You want to be competitive at the end of the day. So like for me, like football, I love football because it was always like you not only hang out with your brothers at the end of the day and you play a sport that everyone loves, but it's like you get that pent out aggression out. And it's always something where I think it's a phase in life. You always think that phase in life is going to continue throughout your whole life. And then you have to come to the realization that it's like, you're going to have to slow down eventually. And for me, it's always been like, I always thought I'm going to play football for like 20 years, and then it's like, I stopped playing football. And then every time I try and work out again, I feel like, oh, I got to do that same level. But it's like the older you get, you can't have that same output that you put in, So like
Mhm.
for me, I need to realize that like I don't have to run 10 miles like every day.
Yeah.
I don't have to lift weights for 3 hours. It's like as long as you're out doing something physical for an hour, you're gonna be okay. You eat clean and stuff like that. I just feel like I get that mindset where it's like you play a sport and you just like, I think it's the realization too is like you are getting older and there's a
Mhm.
point where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to stop at some point,
That's spot on, man.
Mhm.
And that's where I had to shift that mindset to saying, okay, there are other benefits other than that thing. Cause I completely agree, dude. Like
Yeah,
for as long as I can remember, like that is a thing. Put me against somebody in something, I'm gonna do whatever I can to win.
exactly.
This is what I'm gonna do.
But doesn't that make you feel good at the end of the day?
So good.
Because it's like, I feel like that's part of our human nature is to have some sort of competitive nature. So like even in art, like it's not like it's a competition, but I see other artists out there that inspire me in my work. So when I say like my drive is what makes my work the best quality it is, it wouldn't be that if I didn't have competition and healthy competition. Like,
Mhm.
I'll reach out to other artists. I'm like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And, there's some that are like, just, "Oh, screw off. I'm not gonna tell you my secrets." And then there's some that are like super warm and receptive about it. But at the end of the day, it's healthy you want it to be healthy competition, because that's what makes you better at the end of the day.
100%,
Yeah.
yeah, and then I came to the realization that I can focus that competitiveness in other areas of my life,
Yep.
and now, like, I feel great after doing yoga because I get that thing in my brain now where I was missing when I hurt my
Yeah.
ankle and I didn't have it, so, like, it's a whole different outlet. It's not it's more like inward focus. It's more like
Yeah.
for me when, I was benching to, be a better football player,
Yep.
but I didn't know that I was getting all those other benefits at the same
Right.
time.
Yep.
And that's an interesting part of aging, man. You realize these seasons of life happen and your attention goes in different areas, but everything in life goes together.
Yep.
And you have to find balance in everywhere you can.
Yeah.
It took me a
It's like
long.
that yin and yang. You always gotta
Yeah.
make sure there's that perfect balance and equilibrium with everything. And,
Mhm.
like, even for me, like, that's why too, I'll always find myself reevaluating. Like, every couple months, it's like, what can I be doing different that will
Mm.
help me, you know? Because, like, at the end of the day, I want a really good work life, but I also want a really good family life, and you
Yeah.
want this, and it's like, that's why going on the walks does help, because I think that's kind of like it's your totem at the end of the day. That's what you find your center, because you can think that stuff out too. So it's like, even you talking about your yoga, like, that's inspiring me to, like, oh man, I got to get out there. I got to do my thing, So,
Yeah.
like I said, I just think it's, you got to find that balance in life, and there's going to be time. It's just chapters. Your life is a book, and it's like the football, that was a chapter. Now you're moving on to the next page, and you just got to keep finding stuff that's going to find that balance in life.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, how do you relate that to creatively then? If we go back to that direction
Okay.
a little bit, because oftentimes, like, you you can't really force it out, right? Like you mentioned, when you do it after season, there's a bunch of stuff pent up in there that you're
Yeah.
ready to get out. But, are there ways that you find that you can inspire yourself with different ideas, or you look at things a different way that make that some
Yeah.
stuff come out more frequently?
Uh, I think it's a wiring thing in my brain sometimes, where it's like, I can look at things differently than what the average person, like, I'm not trying to get a big head about, like, how
Your
my
stuff's awesome,
process is.
dude.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It's
But it's like, I'll just randomly get an idea. Like, I'll look at something, I'm like, "You know what? I could do this." Like, one of my favorite pastimes is, like, going out and thrifting. Like,
okay.
I didn't do it the whole football season, but, like, after the season was over, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm hitting up every store in Appleton and Green Bay. We're gonna find the best of the best." And, like, I found this ceramic, like, it looks like a coffee ground bag. And, like, for me, just, like, it took me, like, a second to look at that. I was like, "I'm gonna repurpose that, and I'm gonna paint it to look like a Monopoly money bag." And it looks spot on like a Monopoly money bag. That's kinda like how, like, my brain works at the end of the day when it comes to, like, canvases and painting. Like, I could just, like, think of one random thing and then kinda, like, spider web it for different ideas, and then I just pinpoint something. So, it's kinda weird. It's kinda like a beehive at the end of the day. Like, you're thinking of multiple little things, and then, like, the bees are coming back to the hive and, like, telling you, like, these are all the ideas you can do, and then there's just the one that's like, "Alright, that's it. That's what I'm gonna roll with."
That's super interesting,
Yeah.
dude. Do you think has that developed throughout your life, or do you think that was innate to some
I
aspect?
and I've always, like, and I'll say this, I've always been, like, gifted in art. Like, my art teachers in elementary always said that, like, he's gonna do something art related when he grows up. Like,
Yeah.
I went to the Milwaukee Art Museum. Like, I was selected out of, like, a handful of kids to, like, illustrate stuff in books. Like, I was illustrating in, like, stamp hobby books, like, my work when I was, like, 3rd, 4th grade. Like, I always had I had the eye to, like, draw stuff, and I always had the ideas to, like, come up with stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's always, like, and that's what makes it so that's why too, when I say, like, I gotta go for walks and stuff, it's because my brain won't shut off. Like, there's times where it's like, man, I'll lay down in bed and just think,
I was
think,
gonna
think,
say,
think.
hence the
Yeah.
night owl thing,
That's
man. Yeah.
literally what it is. So, I'll just think until my brain crashes out, which it probably isn't the healthiest thing to do, but, like, I don't know. Like, it's just my process. Like, it works for me.
You know, it seems like that's kind of a commonality in the arts specifically.
Yeah.
Is that we all have different types of brains.
Yep.
And it seems like that type of brain or that bucket of brain kind of has that thing where it's like, I don't just lay my head on the pillow and go to sleep.
Yeah.
There's all these other things. Whereas you flip that with my brain, I'm envious of a lot of that type of looking at things because my creativity comes out in different realms.
Yeah.
And you compare that to how my brain operates. I'm a morning person. Like,
Yep.
I'm the most productive I'm going to be from like 6 a.m. until like 11.
Yeah.
And when it gets post 11, there's a cliff coming because I'm going to hit a part where my brain's going to turn off. I'm going to want to just hang out with my kid and joke around and
Yep.
just like not think creatively, but think like in the moment.
Yeah.
And, I've never read a ton of research about the connection between those, but I guarantee there's something.
Yeah. And I would say like even my life in general, I would say is more chaos than it is structured.
Okay.
So like I don't really follow a schedule or a routine. I just go to the beat of my own drum. Like I'm feeling this today and I'm gonna do this,
I love
and
that,
it's like I'm kind of like the even Steven at the end of the day. It's like when you do something and you're like, I shouldn't have done that, but then something happens like where you break even on everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I just kind of roll with that and keep doing my thing. And so far it's been going great. So no complaints from me at all, or even my wife and family. So
I was going to say, there's a couple things there. Your wife probably enjoys that because often that person, you ride the wave, man.
Yeah. Okay. But I'll say this. So my wife is an educator.
Okay.
So like, and she like works with like, oh my gosh, she's gonna kill me for not knowing. But like,
don't show her this part.
Yeah, like pre-K, like she works with kids that age.
Oh, no way.
So it's like they have to have structure in their life. So like for me, like she says, you know what, you got me ready to like teach these kids because you're just a big kid yourself.
Yep.
Because like for me, I always have just an outgoing kind of like funny, goofy attitude where it's like I don't really try and find the negative in life. I always try and find a positive at the end of the day.
Super important.
So it is. And like I feel like we kind of live in a world today where it's like, man, the glass is half full. And it's like, well, it's half empty. And I'm like, for me, it's always half full. I'm gonna find something where it's gonna be a positive at the end of the day. But going on what I was saying with like my wife, it's like she's got to teach kids structure and like, you have nap time, this is when you eat. And it's like I would not lead by example when it comes to that. I'm eating when I want to eat. I'm gonna go walk when I'm gonna go walk. I'm gonna go paint when I'm gonna go paint. But like I always run it by her and make sure. I said, listen, I'm not gonna be in bed tonight. I'm probably gonna be working in the studio because there's a game tomorrow and everyone wants their cleats ready.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I have the most supportive wife in the world. Like I wouldn't be doing half this stuff without my wife in my corner. So I always say she's my better half, and yeah, she's the best.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's that specifically that line of work more than I ever have. I have a 4-year-old right now, and it's awesome. But it is a whole different way of like having to address situations and plan activities like in the classroom and stuff. That's awesome, man. Building on that thing though, of do you feel then when you have parts of life that command structure or need it, do you start to feel a little tight in those scenarios when you don't have the freedom to operate how you want?
Yeah, I feel like part of it is I can zone in. Like I can zone, like if there's a project where it definitely needs to be like, this is a deadline, you got to make this deadline. Like I could do that. I can zone in. Like I feel like I'm more of an adapter than anything. Like for the most part, my life can be like chaotic. I do whatever I want. But the moment that I got a big project, I dial in. I make sure everyone is like, they get what they're asking for.
Okay.
So it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of all over the place with that sense, but I'm also very organized with that too. So like for me, like I have a process when it comes to, I think part of it too is the process where I can like, so if someone was going to like, hey, I'm looking to get like custom shoes done, what's the routine? Like for me on top of my head is like, well, listen, this is, if you're looking for something specific and you want to see a visual, I'll offer you a rendering service. So I offer them like this fee where it's like, I'll draw and design stuff on the computer. You get as many renderings as you want. Once you get that design figured out, like, dude, that's the one. That's what I want on my shoes. Perfect. Then it's like I ask for a half down payment. And then I always tell them, like, you're going to get your shoes between 6 to 8 weeks. That's generally what the turnaround time is. So, like, in that sense, I'm super structured. Like, but it's just the timeline. It's just like my timeline's chaotic, you know? Like, this is my beehive brain
I
working.
love it,
It's just
man.
all over the place, you know, but
I love it because you're talking directly through one of the most important skills in life.
Yeah.
Is navigating the balance between structure but adaptability.
yeah,
And like even through the lens of leadership, adaptive leadership is what calls out to me because there is no silver bullet answer, man. There's
Yeah.
there's no like one way to address multiple situations.
yeah,
Everything is unique. And if you can ride the wave, man, you can then have that underlying like organization and that underlying path, you
Yeah.
would call it. But at the same time, if you're coming up and there's a right turn that's like, okay, there's something cool right
Right.
there. Okay, we're gonna zip off for a little bit.
But that's the thing, and, like, I embrace the chaos. Like, I love that, like, I can do one thing one day and a different thing another day, and it's just really not, like, a set path. Like, there's people that they need to wake up at 9, go to their job, and then come back home at 5. Like, it needs to be a routine. For me, like, I feel like that's why I got burnt out when I worked in the corporate setting, is because yeah, it was a little chaos, but it was structured chaos where it's like, you need to be in at this time, and then you need to leave at this time, and then you gotta repeat it. Like, for me, that was boring. Like, it just got like, I didn't mind working hard. I just, like, didn't like the over and over and over and over again of the same thing.
Groundhog's Day.
Yeah. So that's why too, like, even when I do work, like, you know, it's nice that I can wake up, I can paint shoes one day, and then the next day, it's like I'm painting on a canvas, and then it's like that's why I always try and not stay in one direction. So, like, when I call my business Forever Young Designs, it's literally it's a broad spectrum. Like, I'm not just designing shoes, I'm doing graphic design, I'm doing, painting on walls, like, it's a little bit of everything, so
So you still do some graphic design work too.
yeah, a little bit, not a whole lot. Like, when I implement my graphic design skills, like, I work with, do you know Twig's Beverage in
Yeah.
Shawano?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they're the best. Like, they're my business family. That's why I'll go stop in there. Like, I was saying, you know what? Maybe I'll stop by and get some Twig soda here pretty quick. But like, they just, you know, they had me design their packages and stuff and do murals on their walls out in Shawano. And it's just been that's why I really, really just love them because they always give me a unique project to work with. Like, it seems like yearly. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
You know, I had a flashback while you were talking about that. In that, like, rigid office atmosphere, like, if you were to describe my living hell,
yeah,
it is the last like, say your work time is at 5 and, like, your work is done for the day.
yep,
It doesn't pay to start a new project because, like, you know, why dive into something for 20 minutes and then, like, I'm a get it done the whole
That's
thing type person.
same,
Dude,
yep.
but there's this one office atmosphere that I worked in that I won't mention, but it was this thing like if you like, and it wasn't punching a clock, it was a salary job, which always
Yeah.
drove me nuts. But like if you left that 20 minutes early, it was like, you know, the little office chatter. Like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, where are they going? Talk about my living hell, dude, because that is not efficient in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
Because one, you're not talking about the times that I worked till 8 PM or I was there early or whatever. But on another thing, productivity and time aren't directly related in most ways.
right,
And why would I spend this 20 minutes here watching a minute hand go
right,
when, okay, I can re-energize in a different way. And then when the block of time calls for it,
yep,
I'll do that thing.
yep.
Drove me nuts.
I think that's just a crazy thing in the time, like the society we live in, is that time is more valued than productivity. Like, if you're in a work environment, people are like, that dude works 60 hours a week. It's like, but what is he doing in 60 hours? You know, like I can like there's people I know that can work 60 hours, but then there's other people that I know that can work half that and get the same amount of work done.
Yep.
So I think that's often like an illusion for people to be like, well, how long do you work for? It's like, that doesn't matter. Like for me, like I could get like 10 paintings done in a day if I really wanted to. There's some people it would take them months to do something like that. But it's like, I actually like, and then this is the thing, earlier in my art career when like work was slow, I challenged myself. I did a painting every day. And like I think I got to day 1000 and then I was like,
Wow.
yeah. So it was just whatever I could think of. Like I'm like, you know, even if it's a bad idea, I'm just going to paint it on a canvas. I'm going to paint it on a random item and then at least put it out there for the world. So it was like literally 1,000 days. That's like just under 3 years. So I was doing a painting every day for like 3 years.
That's wild,
Yeah,
man.
but it honed in on my skill, you know? And then when it comes to like the time, like it takes me less time to do a painting because I practice that much to like get to that point. It's like there's a famous Bruce Lee quote. I can't remember exactly what it is, but like he fears the man that practices one kick 1,000 times
Yeah.
versus the dude that kicks 1,000 times, you know? Like
Yep.
it's like I get that, like that, you know, you can apply that to everyday life. So that definitely helped me in the long run when it came to productivity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I've seen a couple like Bob Ross clips from back in the day where he like
Oh,
delivered
he's
in
my
his
jam, dude.
Oh, Bob, the best. We'll sit. We were on a vacation last summer and we spent some of it watching Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I don't know, there's something that calls you in about it. But his thing was like, you know how he delivered everything so softly and nicely.
Yeah.
His thing was, don't worry about it. The first one might take you 10 days. The
Yep.
second one might take you 3 days. The third one's going to take you 10 hours. And the next thing you know, they're all happy little accidents.
That's literally what it is. And that's the funny part is because like being a kid, I never had like cable TV growing up.
Ditto.
So it was always like, and that's the thing, you go to school, like, did you guys watch like SpongeBob or something? I'm like, never had that. Like I was watching PBS, I was watching Bob Ross. And like before you go to school, like I turn on channel 32, you watch like Dennis the Menace. And then like PBS was Dragon Tales. Like I'm like in middle school watching Dragon Tales. Like, I don't care. It's a vibe. But it's like literally I had Bob Ross growing up. And like to say that he influenced my art career could be a huge possibility. But like that's literally, he's such a vibe. Like that's the vibe when I say positive attitude. That's what you need to be in life. So
100%.
Yep.
World would be a great place. I'll tell you what.
And he had pet squirrels. I'm trying, like my wife was like, well, maybe I told her this because like it was funny because I'll go like on TikTok and like there'll be I was like, look at this video and there's a dude with a pet raccoon. And I was like, in a scenario, I'm telling you, this it's a possible situation. We live out in a town called Shiocton, and the title is Where Nature Begins. I said, if you were to see a baby raccoon by chance and it was no mom in sight, you have permission to bring it into the house and we could possibly raise it as our own. and I literally had to look it up. I'm like, can you do that in Wisconsin? And she's like, and I told her, I was like, yeah, you could do that in Wisconsin. So there might be a point in time where you have a baby raccoon in our house.
Love that.
Yeah. But like Bob Ross was the same thing when he had the squirrels. Like he'd always have a squirrel on his shoulder. I was like, dude, this guy is like awesome. It's like energy. It's the vibe that I'm striving for in life, you know? So
yeah, who knows, man? Those things are programmed young, a lot of them. So you never know. Same scenario though. I was the no cable kid either.
Yeah.
Did your wife have cable growing up?
Yeah, she did.
So this happens in my relationship constantly. My wife and I have been married almost 10 years now.
I already know what you're gonna say. I do.
When she brings up a show from back in the day,
SpongeBob. It's all the time. I'm like, I'm like, what is that from? And she's like, SpongeBob. So then like I'll like paint and I'll have SpongeBob playing in the background. And I'm like, you know what? That is kind of low key funny. You know, like just I play it so I can get her references down the line, you know? So
yep.
I mean, you had limited like what was playing during the day during the summer was Young and the Restless, like,
Mhm.
on our TV, and it was like, I heard that sound, so it was the opposite. So she would say references from SpongeBob, and I have no idea,
Yep.
but then there was the Young and the intro, and it's
Oh, yeah.
dun, dun. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's such nostalgia," and she's like, "What is that from?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Young and the Restless? You don't what?"
You don't know Young and the Restless?
Exactly. So, like, what she does for me with SpongeBob, it's the same thing with Young and the Restless with her. So, yeah, it's just crazy where it's like, and that's the thing too, where I always kind of shock me where it's like, what could my creative path be in life if I had unlimited, like, television watching experiences?
Mm.
Like, I would be painting more SpongeBob. Like, for me, I always grew up on anime. So,
'Kay.
like, Dragon Ball Z was always like, I remember going to a buddy's house who had cable, and I watched Dragon Ball Z for the first time. I was like, "This is the best thing I've ever watched." And I'd be like, "Mom, can I go to my cousin's this weekend just to watch, like, the late night Adult Swim Dragon Ball Z?"
Yeah.
So, but, like, I always say, like, anime had such a huge role in my art career because that was, like, a lot of things I was drawing. I was drawing, like, characters from the show and then other animated series, like, it's kinda crazy, like, what's out there that can really inspire you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense though, man. It's so visual.
Yeah.
It's so, so I don't know a ton about anime, but, like, from what I've seen, obviously, most people have seen it, like, it's very, there is an artistic element
There
to the creation.
It is, and, like, it's so advanced nowadays too, like, there was, like, a recent movie that just came out and, like, it's, like, Demon Slayer the movie it's called, but, like, they were saying, like, the creator of that show, so they call each storyline kind of like an arc, so, like, that specific arc, they were highlighting in that movie, and he wanted to wait until the animation was at the right point in technology where it was capable of creating it. He had it planned 10 years ago. And then the technology was there, but, like, there's, like, an explosion scene, but it's slow motion and each frame is, like, hand drawn, and it's, like, just crazy how, like, the wood will, like, cave out. And I just think that's so crazy to even have that mindset to be like, I want it done right, so I'm gonna wait until, like, he waited 10 years to make that masterpiece, you
It's
know?
crazy.
And that's just another creative mind just thinking, like, those little endless possibilities right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are there any projects for you like that right now that are like, not maybe
Mhm.
not to that extent, but, like, anything that's festering in your mind creatively that, like, you want to bring to life, but you don't have the perfect path
That's
there
a good
yet?
question. Uh Yeah, honestly, so, like, when it comes to, like, customizing shoes and cleats, the one thing I'm seeing now is people actually sewing, like, sewing leather together, and then they attach it to the shoe and the cleat, and I just think that's so fascinating where they create their own template and they recreate an actual shoe. So, like, when the Bengals came to Green Bay this past year to, like, Lambeau Field, I delivered cleats to TJ Sladen at, the Paper Valley Hotel in Appleton, and we just had a conversation. He's like, "Listen, man, the reason why, like, I love going through you is because you're a painter. Like, you have that artistic ability where, like, there's artists that can, like, paint a cleat, but then there's other artists that can, like, sew stuff." And they said, like, the artist that the Bengals have that does a lot of their work is, like, a customizer when it comes to sewing fabric together and attaching it to the cleat. So I always, like, I wanna have the time to figure that out just to experiment, but, like, it's one of those things where, like, I feel like it could advance even more to what it is right now. Like, I can wait a little while longer to come up with something cooler. Like, for me, I'm always trying to strive to do something that no one else has done.
Yeah.
So it's like I've attached, like, I think, like, the one year I did cleats for someone, I attached, like, grass on them to make it look like
Actual
nature.
grass?
Yeah. So I'm like, no one's telling me I can't do it. I'm gonna experiment and see if it works. Like, granted, I should be trying it on, like, maybe not an NFL player's cleats and have it fail on national TV, but, like, yeah, I just kinda roll with it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But
That's
when it comes to projects, I guess, like, there's nothing really at the moment. It's just more so, like, when it comes to me, I'll just kinda, like, sit on that idea until maybe it's the right time to do it now, so
yeah. It's interesting thinking I really clung on to the statement about you saying, like, "I wonder what my inspiration could have been
Yeah.
with more access." And I don't even really know where to take that, but I think that's a fascinating, like, even way of just looking at things
Yeah.
because, you know, we all experience life through this singular bubble, like, our singular
Yep.
set of eyes have this unique experience to now. And I don't know, I just think that's a fascinating thing to think
Yeah.
about, like, if I would have done or had this, would this happen?
Exactly. Well, and I always say experiences mold the person that you become eventually in life.
Absolutely.
And, like, and that's the thing, and, like, that's why I'm really open-minded with everyone's situation, because it's like you just never know what someone goes through, and, like, they have their own experiences that shape them into the person they are. So, like, for me, like, growing up without cable, like, you never know what maybe that puts me in a different situation than I am today in my art career, but it's like, you can't kinda sit and wonder and have that bother you. It's just a cool idea just to maybe think about,
Just to,
but
yeah, noodle
yeah.
around on, yeah. Yeah, oftentimes I look, and, I don't even know that I minded then. The worst part about it was probably just, like, hearing people talk about shows that you didn't know about because that's such a communal thing as a
Yeah.
kid. So maybe that, but I still never mattered that much, and now I actually most of the time look upon it fondly
Yeah.
that I wasn't behind the TV all the time. I spent a ton of time outside
Yep.
playing, engaging,
Yeah.
and it's weird because now I think about how I parent, have the 4-year-old, we have cable, but it's
Yeah.
like, you can watch 2 shows, dude, and then we're going to do something else.
Yep.
So, that's a weird thing to think about because then who knows where he's gonna find value,
Right.
right? I look at it from a brain development standpoint because he's only 4,
Yep.
but who knows what I'll do at 10 when it's different.
Right.
Because who am I to say what's one thing's better than the other?
Exactly, and that's all just, like, it's subjective at the end of the day, because there's a lot of people with their opinion like this, "Oh, I think this is gonna work better than this," or vice versa, but it's like, at the end of the day, like, even, my wife being an educator and, like, raising kids at school too, it's like, you just gotta make sure you have a positive impact on someone's life, and it don't matter what it is, like, you just gotta make sure it's in a positive direction, and it's meant to be the I'm trying to find the right word for this, but, like, at the bottom of your heart, you want what's best for that kid. So, at
Mhm.
the end of the day, you'll do whatever you can, you just make sure you provide them with whatever or they need in life, so
And if you take that mindset to just life in general,
yeah.
it's so impactful. Like, I mean, you mentioned your professor at St. Norbert earlier.
Yeah,
You
and
didn't mention what he taught you.
yeah.
You mentioned the experience that you felt with him.
Yep.
That's what matters. So I'm an educator too in my quote unquote normal job.
Yeah.
And like I can't count how many times I've said in the classroom, like, you're not gonna remember everything we talk about in this when we talk about marketing. Like, you're
Yep.
not gonna remember the X's and O's, but I can, like, if I go to work every day with the intention that they're gonna remember the thing you just said, that they're gonna remember how I made them feel
Right.
and the path that I helped them walk, the rest kinda comes with it,
But that's
dude.
the thing, and I think, like, when it comes to, like, even for me, like, I wanna be as authentic as possible, and I feel like an authentic person will leave more of an impact than a person who this is what's in the textbook, and you just tell them what
Yeah.
this fact is, you know? I feel like, and you also have to have a passion and love for it. So, like, or my wife would always tell me, I was like, "Well, it's not a really good paying job." And I was like, pardon my language, who gives a shit about the money, you
Yeah.
know? Because money at the end of the day, like, you can't take that with you when you're gone, you know? You're gonna, like, you don't know what's gonna happen after this life, like, but for me, like, I just feel like we have one life, you know? You should live it to the fullest. You should live and do what you wanna do, and, like, you're doing something that you love at the end of the day, and you're gonna be happy at the end of the day. Like, 20 years from now, like, and I always tell her, that's such a cool thing to, like, kinda reflect on, like, think about, like, when you're retired, and then you're gonna have, like, once a kid is now an adult, could walk up to you and be like, "Thank you for the impact that you helped me." Like, I do, like, my elementary teacher, like, her name was Mrs. Beecher. Like, I remember, like, she would let me draw during, like, lunchtime and recess in her class, and, like, I always, like, was so grateful for that because, like, it really did, like, I enjoyed that time, you know, and she just retired like last year, and I had to like message her. I was like, just thank you for everything. Thank you for like the path you led me in life, and I just like I'm forever grateful for that experience to like guide me here. So
Mhm.
yeah,
And you think about that's really resemblant to that point actually, because that space for you was important at that time because there were some days that was probably an escape,
yep,
and there were some days that was probably a reinvigorator when you needed it.
it is. Yeah, and I was a shy kid growing up too, like kind of reserved and kept to myself, and it's just kinda like, some people can, like, be in a room and socially interact with everyone. For me, like, kinda my escape and was, like, being in my own world and just drawing, you know? That was my socializing, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
So, I and that's the thing, I'm super grateful for, like, having a space where I could do that, you know, at school, you know? And someone who, like, literally would tell my mom, like, "Yeah, he's gonna be an artist when he grows up. There's no doubt about it." Don't know how it's gonna happen, but he will do something art related for sure. So, it's kinda cool, and then, like, even looking at old papers, like, there was, like, a 5th grade assignment. My mom's like, "Look at what I found," and it said, "What do you wanna be when you grow up?" "An artist." That was, like, what it said, so it's kinda cool, like, if I could go back in time and, like, "We did it, little guy." I wasn't really a little guy back then, but, you know?
That's a gift in itself, dude. That's a gift in itself because the path to finding true satisfaction,
Yeah.
especially through your work, is really winding, and understanding even what you find satisfaction out of as a 5th grader
Yep.
is a true gift,
Yeah.
because then when you set your sights on something, nothing good happens overnight, going back to the hard work thing,
Yep.
but you can meander in that direction,
Yep.
and, that's a gift, dude.
Yeah. And I was really, like, and that's the crazy thing, because like, everyone always talked about, like, "Well, if you go to college, what are you gonna do?" And then, like, I always just found it weird that people didn't know what they wanted to do when they go into school. Like, I always had the mindset, "I'm gonna do something art related, whatever that may be." Like,
It's awesome.
it was a matter of deciding, am I gonna be a fine art studio major, or am I gonna be, like, a graphic design?
Yeah.
You know? And, like, even my professors told me, "You're like, you're just wasting your time with the fine art road. Like, you already have that pre-established, like, you have the basic techniques that like, this is just gonna be rinse and repeat for you.
Yep.
So if you just do graphic design, it's a different thing. Like, it could expand a different kinda thing that you didn't know before, and, like, thank God that professor told me that, because like, it really did open, like, even for, like, customizing shoes. Like, if I didn't know half the stuff in graphic design, I wouldn't be able to, like, customize shoes visually on the computer to show people.
Right, the
So
renderings and stuff you were
yeah.
talking about earlier, yeah.
And that's cool in itself, and I feel like that's a huge selling point for people is, like, if I can go on a computer and it's one thing to sell an idea to someone. If you could show them visually what it's gonna look like, then they're all in at the end of the day.
Yep.
So it's like, it's funny, I'll get a message and be like, "Do you think you do a few renderings for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, we'll get it done." So, like, I'll have 12 cleats on one page, and each one will be customized to look a certain way. So, like, some will be, like, lightning bolts on them, and then the other ones are, like, they call it off-white shoes. I don't know if you're a sneakerhead or anything, but it's a variation of what a sneaker already looks like. So it's like, the ideas that they send me, they just always say, like, "I wanna see a visual." So,
Yeah.
and make it happen. Yeah.
That's so cool, dude. I love talking about the journey, man.
Yeah.
The journey and, like, the the places that we cling on to in life that we deem as, important to
Yep.
us. And that going back to your point earlier, the decisions we make and the things we do lead us to the experiences you mentioned earlier
Yeah.
that mold us as a person.
Exactly.
So it's really easy to feel that we don't have control at times, but really what you do have control is of this moment.
Yeah.
And what are
And
you gonna do
even
with it?
if you feel like you don't, all you gotta do is stop, take a deep breath, and reevaluate. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, this like our conversation, I just like I knew this was a conversation. It was gonna go philosophical at some point.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like every creative, every crazy artist ever, like I think like Andy Warhol, Salvador Dali, those are just the most eccentric people you'd ever see. Like
Yep.
Dali had a pet aardvark, like what
badass.
experience happened to make him like be walking around like New York with an aardvark, And then Andy Warhol is like, yeah, I'm gonna paint soup cans. Like what? Like how does that happen? I just think it's like at the end of the day, I think it's just evaluating your life and seeing how you can apply it in your work as an artist. So I say everything that I do is just based on circumstance and experience in life.
Yeah.
So like I've always like when we were talking about that earlier, when like one phase ends and a new chapter begins.
Yeah.
Like when I retired from like playing semi-pro ball, I was just like, man, I just don't know what I'm gonna do now. But like I still have that, I feel in ways like kind of a brotherhood where I'm customizing cleats for a team.
Mhm.
So it's like I never really left the football space. I just transitioned into a new position where it's
Mhm.
like I'm just the cleat artist for a lot of players. So it's kind of cool where I still feel like I'm part of a team at times, So I feel like the transition from retirement to going to something that's still football related is pretty much the same thing.
And maybe subliminally, your experiences led to you, we talked about life's happenstance earlier, but also we pull some levers too. Maybe subliminally, your experiences led you to maybe even searching that out
Yeah.
because like you forecasted that feeling.
Yeah.
Because it's certainly true. I mean, how many times, I can't remember the dude's name right now, but how many times has Aaron Rodgers shouted out the equipment guy for the Packers? So many times. Like it's part of it.
Yeah. I jokingly tell my parents, I was like, man, if Packers win the Super Bowl this year, I am going to campaign to get my ring. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I should get a ring for being part of the team. Like, granted, like, like if we would have made the Super Bowl, like players wearing like that would be one thing that like I wouldn't even care about the ring. It would just be like, man, my cleats are on the main stage to like the most watched like television program in the world. Like that would be
Mhm.
insane. Like that's the dream, I think. Like I want the Packers to go to the Super Bowl. I want to see like my work out on the big stage. And then at the end of the day, I want them to hoist the Lombardi trophy. That's why I want it to happen this year, but we'll be patient with that.
Whew.
And
After seeing how the Seahawks defense played, I was kind of glad we didn't even make it there because we couldn't have stood up to that at that point. They played out of their mind.
They're a very, very good team. And like it was cool seeing, so like I went to school with a buddy and his uncle is John Schneider.
Okay, yeah.
So it's cool to see like natives from the Green Bay area actually, won a Super Bowl and stuff. And I just think that's like such a cool that there's Wisconsin roots here,
Yeah.
So
we make football people, dude.
that's what it is.
We make football people here 100%. For sure. Yeah.
Offensive linemen in general. Like I remember like growing up as a kid until high school, it was like, all right, if Wisconsin's top offensive line group is going to be a top 5 pick or a first round pick, either way, like Joe Thomas and all those guys, and
he's farming beef now. Have you seen that?
I think I saw some like he's like signing signatures on packages and dropping it off to locations. I was like, man, that's so rad. Like when it's all said and done, you just like do what you want to do. And
yeah. I've been thinking about shooting him a DM to try to get him on the pod because he's back in Wisconsin just raising beef.
That's so cool.
But you're right, man. It's too bad that it's not really that anymore. But for the longest time, like if not, don't even talk about Wisconsin, the country. If you were, blue chip offensive lineman, you wanted to be a Badger.
Oh, that's what it is for sure. I was like, and even running backs now too. Like I still think we're in that like that time in the team where it's like if you go to Wisconsin to be a running back, you're gonna get looks in the NFL or you're gonna be like a first round talent. Like it was crazy because someone shared like who were the best running backs each season from like 2010 to like now. You had Jonathan Taylor on there, Melvin Gordon. I think Monte Ball was on there too.
He had some good years. People forget about that.
Very good years. And like I even remember like John Clay. Like John Clay was a guy that was like he was so good for the Badgers, I just It's just like offensive linemen and running backs. That's where we were blessed to have,
Yeah.
those positions be elite for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. My one of my best friends in the world, he's my college roommate. Like I've known him for a long
Yeah.
time. He tells me the story about playing against John Clay. He grew up in South
Oh, no kid.
Yeah. And he's like, he's got this line that he says his coach said something about, we're used to seeing guys that are going to play on Saturdays. That guy's going to play on Sunday. He
Yep.
just talks about just getting trounced
Yeah.
by this and just being a different level of human. You know?
Yeah. Oh, well, my cousin, like, he played at, so he went the junior college route. So, like, he waited a while and he went to Northern Iowa Community College. And it's crazy. This is like, so are you familiar with Marshall Yanda?
That sounds familiar, but not immediately.
So he played like, I think it was like 14 seasons with like the Ravens. He was like an all-pro offensive guard.
Okay, yes.
He'll probably
I
be
do know who
considered
you're
like
talking
one
about.
of the best interior linemen to like ever play the game.
Yep.
So junior college, my cousin was on the same team as him, and they were like roommates in a way. So I remember like going down there and like watching that game, and there was a safety on a blitz. And I saw him, like the safety tried to jump him, and he picked this dude up and helicoptered him. And the guy's just laying face down on the ground. And I told my cousin, like, I've never seen, like, I was in high school. I've never seen any football player do anything like that. And then, like, his brother, who was like sitting with us, was like, yeah, he was telling me about him. That guy's going to play Sundays. And this is at junior college. And now you fast forward and like, I think he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's just my opinion though. But like, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame one of these days. But it's just crazy seeing a guy like that and then having them tell you like, he's going to be the real deal. And then like the next season, he went to Iowa, dominated at Iowa, and then he got drafted. I don't know if it was like the 3rd or 4th round, but like ended up having the most amazing career for the Ravens. So
that's awesome, dude. That's actually a perfect way to cap off our conversation too,
Yeah.
because that happens at different levels, right? Like we talk about that one in a different way because of the ultimate career that the person ended up having.
Yep.
But think about the 5th grade teacher, man.
Yeah.
The 5th grade teacher was forecasting that for you to your parents. And like the path you're on is just as important and the ceiling is just as high.
Yeah.
Man, that's sick to think about.
It is. Like, it's like, I even tell my wife, even just now, like the potential in the ceiling is like, the sky's the limit at the end of the day, you know? So I just think like where I'm at in life right now, it's like, man, what's in store next week even, you know? Like, I just want to keep growing as a person, like whether that's in my art, that's my family life. At the end of the day, I just want to grow and be a better and a good person to everyone in this world. So
that's sick, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for chatting, man. Keep on the path. You're doing something right.
No, I appreciate you having me on the show. Like I said, I get a little nervous sometimes talking to people, but I had a fantastic time with you today.
I never would have guessed, dude. I never would have guessed you. Most of the time I can pinpoint it. I worked in radio for a long time, so I could always see the beads of sweat start on people when the mic got cracked.
Oh, you didn't see the pits right now. They are drenched. It's a swimming pool right there for sure.
We got to get Austin to turn the heater off, right?
Yeah, don't do that. I wore the darkest shirt so no one can see the sweat stains, all right?
Man, I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
That was a great